Good afternoon. My name is John Longbottom. I'm the National Smarter Cities Executive for IBM Canada, and it gives me great pleasure to be here at the IPAC event. I want to talk to you today about economic competitiveness and vitality. Creating economic and competitive business environments is the key to success of cities, regions, and nations. Whether a mature or emerging economy, locations that manage to create a positive business environment stand to gain tremendously from increased economic growth, job creation, and prosperity. To accomplish this, governments and agencies must become agile, striking a delicate balance between business, talent, and technology to facilitate sustainable growth. First of all, to give you an appreciation of a couple of forces underway from a global perspective. First one are the populations in transition. 40% of Latin Americans are in middle class for the first time ever. 50% of the world's population lives in cities today, and by 2050, 70% will live in cities. Another perspective is in the year 1950, about 5% of the population was over the age of 65. At the year 2010, that had grown to 7%, and the forecast is by 2050 that 16% of the population, or 1.5 billion people, will be greater than the age of 65. From the year 1990 to 2008, the percentage of people that lived in extreme poverty was cut in half, and the World Bank target by 2030 is to cut that to 3%. Cities can be extremely efficient centers. There are places where we can provide services from a unit cost basis by applying that across a wide variety of users. But with these particular transitions, it's becoming very difficult for cities to keep up. From the point of view, our economies also, from a global perspective, are in transition. The world economy is going through a major transition. There are blurring divisions between rich and poor countries as technology becomes a global commodity, allowing developing and emerging economies to leapfrog and catch up to the developed world. By 2050, the Asia factor will certainly be clear, with China forecasted to be the world's largest economy, followed by US and India. And then from the point of view of capital, the movement of capital, global capital flows have grown faster than GDP. In fact, it's been a tenfold increase between 1990 and 2010. Up to $328 billion. So financial integration and openness is on the rise in developing countries. So what makes a nation, city, or a region a compelling place to live, work, and do business? And what's the right balance between citizen satisfaction and sustained competitive advantage? Our society is not getting simpler, it's getting more complex. More people, more communication, and more competition. Amongst the bleak recent economic landscape, though, the opportunities are abound. Urbanization and revitalization continues at a rapid pace, transforming how government services are run and delivered. Leading cities are planning for comprehensive, sustained, long-term growth to build their economic advantage. They're collaborating across multiple levels of government. They're leveraging stakeholders, both inside and outside of government. And they're working across the political, social, and technological divide to achieve bigger, better, and more sustainable outcomes in jobs, business environments, and citizen quality of life. Successful businesses are those that create sustainable competitive advantage. Shouldn't communities and regions and economies be thinking the same way? Long-term sustainable advantage is shaped by value creation of people and business and leveraging technology as an accelerator. People put talents into efficient and innovative business organizations that create value and economic growth. And we need the right balance between talent, business, and technology. Of course, we can have a great place with a lot of business, but if we don't have the talent, then that business will basically squander. If we have all of the talent and no business to exploit it, of course, that talent will move someplace else. And we need technology to create innovation. So it's really striking that right balance. Agile economies, as we call them, can better respond. We need to attract, create, use, grow, retain talent and business for communities to be successful. And technology needs to be developed through continuous innovation and adoption. Creating attractive environments are critical objectives for cities, regions, and countries. These environments are shaped by a number of factors, and these factors all contribute to quality of life and operating conditions for business. Factors are important, but they can be different between different cities and regions. And of course, fundamentally, we've got the need for digital infrastructure, innovation, and the use of data. And I want to just give you some examples of what cities are doing around the world to basically take each of these factors and improve them. Because it is in the collective improvement of these factors that we can gain tremendous advantage by developing resources or getting resources out of our system to be deployed against making our cities and regions much more competitive. So, for example, patient records up to date at each of locations so that I can come in and get my information across my entire health system in one place. Or getting data from hundreds of schools to be analyzed to improve student outcomes. Of course, we have smart card fare management across all modes of transportation and parking in places like Singapore. In the city of Rio, we're integrating over 30 departments, making them much more efficient and effective in being able to handle any kind of issue that will crop up in the city. In the city of Portland, we use system thinking models and a tool to create high-level planning and to do simulations so they can build better policy. In Memphis, we've been able to reduce crime by 19% over 4 years. In some places, we've been analyzing all sources of water information. So in the Netherlands, for example, all kinds of information that relate to everything from water creation, management, through to the levees is analyzed to protect a very, very important landscape. And of course, the idea of toll roads to reduce traffic in the case of Stockholm has done that to reduce traffic by 20% with 40% lower emissions. So cities also face new opportunities for improvement enabled by technology, and they create a paradigm shift in economic development. Of course, we need to make sure that we keep our citizens at the center of all of this activity. So the convergence of technology allows us to improve locations in a very smarter way. The growing digital infrastructure helps connect people, organizations, and objects in a web of information flow. Now have the ability to capture, connect, and leverage information. We gain new insight and analytics for effective collaboration and action, and we can empower citizens, communities, and businesses to play a much more active role. We're enabling completely new business models and approaches to service delivery and government. So placing individuals at the center to help shape cities radically alters the ability of governments to realize economic, social, environment goals and objectives. These smarter technologies unlock new opportunities for returns on investment. They're extensible. With digital information in place and infrastructure in place, data from one point can help generate insights in another. And they're scalable. Whether you're big or small, smarter technology can be implemented at the appropriate scale. And what it does is liberate funding. We can draw funding out of the existing environment and not have to rely on our traditional tools of making capital investments, being able to offer efficient operating expense, and of course the foregone receipts with tax breaks and other incentives. We can now harness the power of data and analytics to provide insights so that we can improve our cities, improve the business environment by applying those technologies to those factors that I just previously reviewed. But I'd like to leave you with 3 questions. First of all, what can governments do to attract the kinds of talent and the businesses that are needed to grow its economy? Secondly, which is more important? Hard infrastructure, roads, buildings, and the kinds of things we spend a lot of money on, or the soft infrastructure, the people-based services, healthcare, social services, justice, and education. And I would say and challenge, the governments really need to change the way they think about or approach their economies and communities. These are all very important factors. Economic vitality in our cities is key to providing a great place for people to live, work, and play. We're at the cusp of, I think, great potential. I thank you very much for listening to this presentation and look forward to speaking to you again. Thank you.